Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the movement. Thank you for joining us. We are the movement. We're a motivational organization built to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. We are, as we so affectionately say, in honor of Annette, who likes to roll her neck when she says this line, we are a movement. Yes, we are a movement to move. We want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you can start living the best version of yourself and win. We've tapped into some winners' resources, some winners' information. We are seated at the winners' table and we invite you to join us, right, Annette?
That's so right, and I'm excited tonight. As always, again, my light is a little off, but that's okay. We're getting ready to move and share some great things with you tonight. So thank you for coming, and we are glad you're here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm excited. Now, our topic tonight, living in a bubble. Um, I remember growing up, there was a movie about the guy in the bubble. He had this.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Remember that movie? He had
yeah.
this problem with his immune system, and he had to live in a bubble. And he was trying to go to school with all of those limitations and restrictions and everything. And when I looked at, of course, when I studied this topic, and we did something similar to this before, where I actually had the PowerPoint presentation with the people walking around in bubbles. And
Oh, she did. Yeah.
yeah, remember, I can't remember the topic, and I was gonna look it up earlier, but I didn't. But we did a topic similar to this a while back in 2019. But when I was, going over this subject matter tonight, the thing of it is, and I've been called this quite a bit, and we've said this many times on here to a lot of our people who follow us, creative people are strange. That's it in a nutshell. If you are a creative, there's going to be slightly something different about you. I heard one of our partners, Linda Williams, evangelist Linda Williams, she said this about people who operate in the prophetic, because there's a particular preacher that we love and we listen to from time to time. And I said, but sometimes he comes across a bit strange. She said, well, people who operate in the prophetic, especially that keen, are strange. I said, you know what? You have a point. They really are. In order to see things and hear things on that magnitude, there has to be some little level of difference, because you're created to be able to handle the things that you see and you hear in the prophetic. And it is, for those who operate in the prophetic, I operate from time to time. I'm not a prophet. I don't have the gift strong like that, but my sister here, Annette, operates in the prophetic quite often, and it is a very different place. And I have been around her when she's like, okay, somebody just died. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be around you, because I don't need you seeing nothing and going off into this thing. And then, I mean, Sharon and Barbara used to call it the little eagle thing that Annette would do in prayer when she went to that little eagle pose. It's like, oh well, it's on and popping. So, but creative people are strange. Prophetic people who see and hear things, and just creative beings, musicians, talented people, very, very strange. And oftentimes, creative people are accused of living in a bubble, or being very different, or being standoffish. If you've ever been around somebody who is extremely creative and gifted in whatever it is that they do, they have a tendency to be loners. We
That's
live in a very secluded kind of lifestyle. It's different, but we have a tendency of being accused of being standoffish or unapproachable.
true. True.
And we have, we're in a world of our own. So, a lot of times, creatives or people who are extremely gifted may seem preoccupied when other people are laughing at a joke or involved in the conversation, and then you'll just be staring off into space because your mind is somewhere different. You can't, it's not that you're not entertained and that you don't want to be a part of the conversation, but it's just that your mind will take you somewhere different. And I find myself sometimes in a whole group of people, and they're talking, and I'm in a business idea, I'm off in la la land, wah, 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 wah. And a friend of mine used to say, wow, I wonder what's going on in that head. She could catch it. And she would say, wow, if I could just see what's going on in that head. And sometimes she would catch me like patting my foot, and there's no music playing, and I'm rocking and patting my feet. She said, wow, I surely would like to know what that song is like. And I'm like, wow, it is amazing how she used to catch it all the time. So, and a lot of other things that we may not react in, emergency situations or different, or, situations that would cause you to go, oh my God, frantic and freaking out because we're different. It's not necessarily that we don't care or are not concerned, but, you might think on the straight line, we're thinking on the wiggly line. And a lot of times, we don't see the obvious, like something that's right in front of us because we're so busy looking more than just the obvious thing, right? That picture right there. Like some people will key straight in on a situation and like, that's it, I'm done, I'm convinced, he did it, she did it, whatever. But then we're looking at all of the scenarios, we're looking at everything around because we pay attention to detail.
That's true.
And so maybe, at times we may wander off track if things don't look interesting. And, and sometimes it may be a good thing or a bad thing. And then we don't necessarily stick to a path. I have a friend who's very indecisive and she's constantly second guessing everything she does. And it just drives me up a wall. The thing is, the way we experience the world and respond to it is a result of our own makeup. It's who we are. And sometimes it could be history, culture, expectations, needs, whatever. But I just believe wholeheartedly that, God created us so different and so vast. It's like everybody is like uniquely, and, he says that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Everyone's perspective on life and the things that they do is unique. So I'm dealing with the word tonight. And I was, when I looked at the word living in a bubble, there are several words that came to mind. But I think one that's very befitting tonight to deal with the verb is the word to sanctify. Because when you look at the word, of course, when we talk about being sanctified as Christians, I'm set apart, yeah. But what is it really? Are you really digging into what that word really means? Are you sanctified for your walk, for your vision, for your purpose? Are you really set apart for this thing? Have you removed yourself from those things and set yourself apart to consecrate? These are all words. And mind you, this word was transitive only. Oh? It was only transitive. To sanctify only has transitive. There was no intransitive meaning. So when I look at the word sanctify, meaning to set apart, other words that came up are to consecrate, to segregate, to seclude, to sequester. So when you go into a place where you're sequestered or secluded or isolated from people, things, and whatever, you have sanctified yourself for the purpose at hand. And it's not always a bad thing. We look at this sometimes as though, oh, it's a bad thing. Oh, she don't never be around nobody. She's never want to be in a company of other people. She never wants to, she only wants to hang around the same old friend. Well, honey, that's probably safer. But when you are actually putting yourself in a position to sanctify yourself, you do have to a certain extent, live in a bubble. And, it's not always a negative thing. Now, we're going to talk about it tonight from a bunch of different perspectives because, I, for one, I live in a bubble. You can, take it or leave it. You can, hey, it is what it is. But I do live right here in this thing right here. That's how I feel. I live in a bubble. I remember one of my clients, she used to say to me, because a lot of my clients, when they're young, they end up becoming homeschooled. And I had a lot of conferences with parents about young artists. And they were like, well, what is it about my child? And why is it that she can't be normal? And I'm like, there's nothing about her that's normal. She's normal. She's not normal. And you want her to live normal in a world where she feels like feels like she's in a bubble floating on the outside and watching everybody else. She's inside this bubble and she's looking at these people like, wow. And that's exactly how it feels. I have always felt like that. I have never felt included. I have always felt like in my little world that I lived in this little bubble. And so we're going to deal with that because the thing is, there are a few things that come along with this that you don't want to allow yourself to fall into, but you want to actually understand why is it that you are the way you are. And I don't know about y'all, but my mom used to tell me all the time, I don't know where you came from. I don't know what planet because I was the most different and probably the most difficult child she had. Because I have always thought outside the box. I've always lived in my own little bubble. I entertained myself. I did things by myself. I dove into everything before my mom would know it's done. I have planned the whole thing. I remember one time I planned my whole birthday party, invited people and everything, and I told them on the day of, and they were like, what? She done invited all these people? And they pulled it together. They had a cake and everything. I didn't know I was going to have it. I just told everybody I was having a party. Hey, for me, it worked. I was like, okay, I'm having a birthday party, and all of my friends are going to be there. Oh, yeah, I invited everybody. And I'm like, who all did you invite? Oh, I invited Tanya, I invited Val, I invited Erica and Ursula. I invited the entire neighborhood to a party that was not planned. And they pulled it together. Well, we're going to have a birthday dinner. I don't care what you have. I'm having something. And my friends enjoyed it. They were like, oh, and they thought we had maids. They thought all my sisters and stuff were maids. Because they were serving them food. But I have been in that position where I have planned things, spoken things, put things together, like literally out of the sky. And before you know it, I'm telling everybody what I'm going to do. And they're like, what? You're in what? You're in a pageant? Well, where are you going to get a gown from? Well, we can go to the thrift store. I was like, I was a different child. So I want to talk about my first part. I want to open up our presentation so that everybody can kind of, I thought I had opened it. Oh, I think I closed it.
I did too. You did, but
where is it? Oh, it's open. Well, why isn't it showing?
I don't know. Showing you.
It's still not showing. I don't know why it's not showing. Hold on, let me go out of here. Let's see if I can. There's something not happening right here. Okay, there it is. It's showing now. Okay. There it is. There's that bubble. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm in that bubble. Now, the first thing I want to deal with is, okay, see that girl down in the bottom of the screen walking around? That was me. And that's how a lot of times, I don't know if you actually are honest with yourself, I can tell that a lot of people that I know, when they come to me with their ideas and the issues and stuff that they're having, they feel like that. You feel like you're walking in a bubble and the whole world just doesn't get you. They don't understand you. You don't know what to do and how to handle what you're dealing with, because you're so different from everybody and different from everything and disconnected that you are walking in a bubble. And that I call this being bubble-minded.
I like that.
Bubble-minded. When you are bubble-minded, you operate in a sense that you are off to yourself. You're off to yourself and you are actually preparing for something great. Don't look at this as though it is a fault. When it becomes an issue, anything that is done in excess, and when you're obsessed with being by yourself and you never want to be around anybody ever, 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 and you close off in a room, in a dark room, and don't visit your family, don't call, don't do it, that is obsessive. That's obsessive behavior that you need to deal with. But when you're in a process of nurturing and taking care of something, it's like a baby. Nobody sees the baby until it's time for the baby to be born. It's like a cake. You can get all of those ingredients and put them together, and you have an idea what the cake is going to turn out like, but you don't know until you put the cake in the oven and you leave it alone. You have to give it the time to mature to the next state. And that's the same way it is with our dream and our vision and our purpose, that there are some ideas that you have to become bubble-minded about, and you have to put it away for a moment and let it do what it does. And the first thing that you do when you do that is, this is a play on my words, subtract the disconnects.
Oh, okay.
You subtract the disconnects, because here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff that may have been or may attempt to be connected to you, and you're in your bubble. But when you go into that place, You're floating around and there's a whole lot of stuff that might be trying. Just imagine this. You're floating around or you see that girl in the bubble and just imagine a whole lot of people trying to get into the bubble. They're trying to pierce the bubble, trying to get inside the bubble to see what's going on inside the bubble. But they can't get inside because that bubble is your own space. And so instead of you trying to please everything outside of the bubble as it relates to that thing, your bubble-mindedness causes you to get into a place where, you know what, I'm just going to let go of all of those things. I'm going to subtract the disconnects because all of that stuff is starting to be a distraction to me. Imagine being inside this incubator and everything in their mama. They're throwing rocks up against the wall. They got sledgehammers. They're beating up against the wall. They're knocking on the door. Everything is trying to get into that space. Has that ever happened to you when you're actually trying to be in a creative space and everything that could come, just, I mean, the noise, the knock at the door, the phone's ringing, you're sleepy, the TV too loud, somebody decides to pop over and visit, and then you're not trying to be rude, but you want to say, would you please just shut up? I got to go back and focus. But you try to be nice, so you don't say anything, and so you just, like, hell, okay, yeah, boy, I have been there. And see, those are the places where you have to exercise your bubble-mindedness and subtract the disconnects. You have disconnected for a reason. There are reasons why at that moment you can't take the phone calls. There are reasons why you have to be in your prayer closet because you have to hear and you have to see. You have to subtract the disconnects. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to be inside there forever because we're going to talk about that a little later. But for right now, when you're dealing with things the way you're dealing with them, it is okay to be bubble-minded. It is okay, Annette, to be bubble-minded. It's okay to be a little bubble-minded right now. We're weird anyway. Creatives are just weird. So whatever it is. Because what has happened is, what we've done is we've gone inside of that place, and what it is that it's a protective place. You ever get something in the mail? I am an avid online shopper. Boy, I get so much stuff in the mail. I have so much bubble wrap. We even have bubble wrap that we use, for moving, for, decorations, Christmas decorations that we pack up every year. So I always have bubble wrap in my house. And Carrie just wrapped something the other day to send to her daughter in bubble wrap that we have. So we are bubble wrapped. Bubble wrapped means that we are there. That bubble wrap is there to protect what is inside.
Wow.
It's fragile. And it's breakable. And we want to make sure that it's protected because it's going to go through some turbulent situations and people that are handling it, hands that are handling it, everybody's not going to be as careful. And because it has to go through a process and it has to travel, it needs to be protected so that as it moves through those turbulent situations and it's roughed around and stepped on and pressed on and all of those things that happen, what is inside is protected because it is bubble wrapped. Bubble wrap will protect the glass from breaking. Bubble wrap, when you're bubble-minded to the point that you understand that you're subtracted from the disconnects and you're bubble wrap, it will protect you from the hurt as severe as it could be. And perhaps because a lot of us will get hurt in situations because, why is it? Because we done brought everybody and their mama inside the bubble. Imagine if she tried to bring all the people in there with her. Where they gonna fit? Where they gonna fit, huh? All they're gonna do is squeeze you, suck up all the air. It's gonna get hot. You're gonna be sweating. You're gonna be angry and irritable. There's no more room. When you're being bubble-minded, you have to go into a place of obscurity, a place of seclusion by yourself. You can't take everybody in there with you. You can't tell everybody what you're dreaming and what you're seeing. You can't, because they'll start to suck the life. Because another thing that happens inside there is that there is passion inside the bubble. You become more passionate about your thing. You ever notice how when you're dreaming, you get that smile on your face. You're like, oh my goodness, boy, I can see this thing happening. I can see it happening. Oh, I can see it happening. And you get so prideful and happy. And it's almost like you're there.
Yeah.
you'll be dreaming and envisioning your wedding. You see all the colors and all the people, and ooh, you gonna be a bridesmaid. You gonna be a bridesmaid. And then you see yourself in your business. You're sitting at your desk, and somebody knocks at the door, and you got assistants and all kinds of stuff. And then you go to your conferences, and there are thousands and thousands of people, and you step on the stage, and you're helping all these people. You're preaching these engagements. I mean, that's what happens inside the bubble.
Yeah.
All of this passion starts to build for that thing that God has on the inside of you. God is working. And you got all this passion inside the bubble. And then what happens? Because of the fact that in a lot of cases, what a lot of us will do is we invite folk up in the bubble who ain't supposed to be up in there. We invite folk in there, Sandy, and we just go ahead and just like, oh, well, come on in. It's just get a little tight in here, but we going to be all right. We going to go and we going to get my vision. And then all of a sudden, they want to divide the bubble and make it two bubbles because somebody else got a vision inside the bubble. Come on, somebody. There is passion inside the bubble. There's vision inside the bubble. There are dreams inside the bubble. There is motivation inside the bubble. But and the thing is, you're protected now. But you got to make sure that if you're protected on the inside, if you've done it right, that outer layer it's got you. No matter what, whoever they are, if they come and try, they can't. You have to beware of all of this stuff, whether inside or out. Beware of the bubble busters. Who do you call? Bubble busters. Yeah, all of those people, the subtractions of the disconnect, all of those situations, bubble busters. The people that you've allowed to go inside, bubble busters. When you're bubble-minded, you're definitely having to beware of bubble busters. So I want all of us on here tonight to really, dig deep within yourself and think about that thing. Think about the one thing that you are the most protective of as it relates to your vision, your purpose, your life, and how you're going to live the rest of your life. There's some people just waiting and letting the clock tick. I'm not one of them. I'm not waiting on the clock to tick. I'm trying to make sure that I control the clock. I want the clock to do, I'm going to utilize every minute in the clock. I'm not just sitting going tick, 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 just waiting on my time. No, the devil is a liar. So all of you who are sitting and wait and knowing, okay, I have to be bubble-minded about this thing. I have to do what I have to do about this thing. I want you to just type in these words. In the bubble. In the bubble. And sometimes what you have to do is just put up a sign for folk. When they come knocking on your door, calling your phone, doing whatever, trying to distract you, just hang out a sign and say, in the bubble. All right, what? In the bubble? Try putting that on your phone. You know how your phone have those automated messages when somebody calls you and it leaves an automated message. I'm sorry, I can't blah, 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 blah. Or, like this, it's a text message that pops up. Because I know that it happens on the phone with OnStar when you're driving in your car or whatever. And it also is a feature on the phone because I remember when I went out of town once with a friend of mine for Mother's Day, she and I both decided that we were going to turn off our phones for the whole weekend because we wanted to sleep and we wanted just to enjoy time away from folk. So we told our families, unless it is an extreme emergency with one of our mothers or somebody like that, do not call our cell phone at all because it will be off. And they were going to get this message that says, so-and-so and so is out, blah, 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 blah. And the only people who knew how to reach us were our family members. And what they had to do was call the hotel room. Because if you call the hotel, something's wrong. And in the middle of the night, the hotel phone rang and we both went to jump in. And it was my friend's husband because he said he tried to wish her happy Mother's Day. He got that message. And her heart was beating. She said, I told y'all not to call in case of an emergency. He said, okay, I'm not going to call anymore. And that's what you have to do. You have to hang up that sign, woo-woo, and say, I'm in the bubble. You have to hang up that sign, Sandy, and say, I'm in the bubble. Francesca, tell him, I'm in the bubble. Tell him, Yolanda, I'm in the bubble. In the bubble, period. So don't bother me right now. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about being bubble-minded. Because there are many things. Living in a bubble, of course, I say can be a negative thing. but it can also be a positive thing. We're just talking from every perspective. But I want to encourage you to utilize this time of seclusion to become bubble minded about your dream, about your vision, about your purpose.
Yes, yes.
Did I do that right?
Living in the bubble is similar to coming from under the rock. It talks about separating from society, totally sheltered, isolated, don't enjoy the company of others. Anita came from the positive. I'm coming a little bit from the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that we really need to learn how to do is come from under the rock. So many of us live under a rock. We don't understand what we need to do. We just live, whatever happens, let it happen. Woe is me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be here. If they reach out to me, they call me, they call me. If it happens, it happens. And that's where we are. So we have to learn to come from under that rock,
Exactly.
that place of obscurity, that place where nobody can touch us. Because if you're going to have an organization, a business, or whatever your desire is, then you're going to have to really deal with people. And so there are so many of us we don't care. There are people don't care if they don't ever see anybody. They don't care if nobody talks to them. And so we have to really learn how to come from under that rock, because it's so important, because there's people are waiting for what you have. Trust me, people are waiting, even though you may think what you have is insignificant. And that's why my first point, be a rainbow in a storm cloud, because there are so many people that need what you have. See, it takes both the sun and the rain to make a rainbow.
Come on, preacher.
It relaxes you, and it's a healing quality. I recently saw a rainbow. It was beautiful, and all of a sudden I just stopped and I just looked at it, and it did something for me on the inside. Rainbows are God promises, according to Genesis and 9. So be a rainbow. Somebody needs you to come from under that rock. Somebody needs you to love on them. Somebody needs you to encourage them. Somebody needs you to lead them to where they need to go. Because there are a lot of us that have visions and dreams and everything, but we need somebody to help lead us. And if you have that leadership ability, you can't lead under the rock. I'm sorry, you're going to have to come from under there. And next is, life is too short to wait. According to Psalms 9 and 10, the Bible says, the days of our years are 70 and 10. And if by reason of strength, they be fourscore. In other words, saying you may live at least 70 or maybe 80 years. And if by reason of strength, they may be fourscore years. Yet is their strength, labor, sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away. And so time is marching on. You know, the Bible talks about 70 years, maybe 80 years, but some of us may not make it there. So life is too short to wait. If there's some things that you need to do, if there's a vision, a dream, a passion, a desire that you have, life is too short to wait. We got to keep it moving. That's what I just believe. And you got to learn how to let go what you can't change. There's some things that you just can't change.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to love deeply and forgive quickly. You got to laugh, and you got to learn how to apologize sometimes. You know, stop sweating the small stuff and worrying and complaining and gossiping and comparing and wishing and wanting and waiting. You know, so life is too short. You need to get your move on, because it was this, I can't think of this lady. I didn't know her personally, but a couple of weeks ago, my daughter actually saw her that Sunday. She's here, living here in Daytona. And I never met her. And Lena said they talked, they laughed. She was talking about how she was going to get us some crabs and just, the normal chit chat. And that next morning, her son found her. So we never know. We never know. And so that's why we got to stop waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for money. I'm waiting for this. You got always you're waiting. And so what happens with waiting, that means time. Wait is synonymous with time. The more you wait, the longer the time goes. The more you sit around, the longer that you're missing out. So come from under that rock, because you're under that rock and you're wasting time. And God did not promise us that we would be here forever. Nobody, you're not gonna. Those days of Noah and all them people living. They live all those years. That's not going to happen with us. And so whatever God had put on the inside of us, we have to make sure that we get going, get it moving, get off your seat or do nothing, and start working on your vision and dream. And we talk about that. That's our message. That's our message, really, really.
Mm-hmm.
To get going, start working. If you need help, that's the thing. The movement is here. If you need some help, Anita can help you. No, Anita. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there. But anyway, life too short to wait. And next is you're the main character, so tell your story. You the main character, so tell your story. Anita wrote a book, and I wrote a book also, and both of the books really, without really going into it, talks about our life. And so we're the main character. So you have to learn, come from under that rock, because there may be something that you've gone through can bless other people. God have allowed me to walk through some things, and at some point I'm going to really be able to tell my story. And so, but because God allowed me to walk through some things, I'm able to share some things. Last night I shared some stuff. I'm always sharing a little bit of my life, because I'm the main character. I'm the one that walked through this thing. And so since you're the main character with your business, it's up to you to tell the story. You said you've been called to be a chef. You said you've been called to be a motivational speaker. You're the character in that story. So you got to be able to tell somebody how they can make it. Tell somebody how they can be delivered. Tell somebody how they can overcome. Because that is so important. And that's one of the reasons we're on every Wednesday, because we got to tell a story. We're the character. We got to tell you how to overcome. And we do that because a lot of times, y'all, what we talk about, we've lived this thing. We don't just talk,
Exactly.
we just don't talk off the top of our head, and you have to learn in life, there's a simplicity to life. The key to life is simply, you don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know everything. And so you have to sometimes reach out to somebody to help you. And what happens a lot of times, we have our dreams and our visions and our desires, but we're so worried about what somebody may say about us. I don't care. I'm gonna get me some help. I know I don't know everything. I don't. So I have to learn how to get help. And I have to learn how to prune away some things. There's some things I have to cut away. There's some people I have to walk away from, because I have a story to tell. And I cannot allow people, situations to stop me from telling my story. I tell my story on Wednesday. We tell our story on Wednesday. We tell our story on Tuesday. We tell our story, when we pick up the phone, anybody who wants to talk. And Anita tell her story even more, because she's a motivational coach. So, so we have to tell our story, because when we help people, see, a lot of times it's all right for you to tell me what somebody else said or what somebody else did. But to me, it's more legitimate to me if you can tell me how you walked through it, if you can tell me how you made it, if you can tell me how you overcame, if you can tell me how you made it as a young girl with a baby, but years later, how God kept you. These are the things that we need to share with people, because we're the main character, and we want to be able to tell somebody how we did it. And that's what we do on Wednesdays. And then finally say, the last thing I want to say, dear Destiny, I'm ready now. I'm ready. I've been talking to my destiny, my hidden power. I've been telling my hidden power. Now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to go to the next level. Now I'm ready to get to where God have called me. I know I've had failures, but I also have a future, and I also have a predestination. God has already predestined me to do some stuff. So I've talked to my destiny. So you have to learn how to talk to yourself. You have to learn how to talk to your situation. You have to tell destiny, okay, now I'm ready. Because, I was thinking, Anita, how some things didn't quite work out for me the way I wanted. But the problem was I really wasn't ready for destiny. Mm-hmm. See, I wasn't ready to go to the next level. I wasn't ready to build my ministry. I wasn't ready to get on social media. I wasn't ready to encourage people. I wasn't ready to really reveal some things about me that I've had hidden for years. But I told Destiny that when I was working on this, I said, dear Destiny, I'm ready now. Mm-hmm. So I want to encourage you, y'all, to talk to your destiny. Tell your destiny exactly what you want. Tell your destiny, say, Destiny, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on some things. And again, that destiny is a hidden power believed to control what will happen in the future. That's what that is. And so that's the important part, that you have to learn to come from under that rock, because destiny is waiting on you. But as long as you stand in that rock, as long as you stay in that bubble, and as long as you don't really walk out and believe, you will always be under a rock. You will always be naysayers. You will never accomplish the things that you've been predestined to do. Because you know how I know you have a destiny? Because every Wednesday you come on here. So you have a destiny. You have a desire. You need that word to motivate you, to push you, to encourage you, to get you to the next level. So learn how to please. If you don't do anything else, learn how to come from under that rock. So come from under the rock. Okay, a pen is needed to burst that bubble. That pen is, first you have to plan, investigate, and navigate. First, you got to come with a plan. You got to investigate and navigate, because what happens with the bubble, not the good bubble, but the other bubble that you're in, it gets in the way sometimes. And so you need to take that pen, plan, investigate, and navigate, and burst that bubble, and walk out and do the things that you've been called to do. So we sometimes in our bubble, we can get comfortable. A bubble is a beautiful thing as long as you're working, but don't allow the bubble to be a place to hide. Don't allow the bubble to cause you not to work. Don't allow the bubble to get in the way of your destiny. Don't allow that bubble to cause you to just stay there and sit there. Well, I'm all right. I ain't got to worry about nobody. I don't care. I'm just going to be right here. And no, if you just got to be in the bubble, won't you learn how to work? If you just got to be in the bubble, learn how to plan your destiny, learn how to investigate, learn how to navigate and get you to the next level. If you just got to be in your bubble, take that bubble and use it to help get you to the next level in life. And the first point I'm going to hear on is confident is silent, insecurity loud. Without silent talking, no noise. That's silent. And a lot of times, a person who talk the loudest sometimes, and I know I talk a lot, y'all, but sometimes people have insecurities, and what happens is they'll start telling themselves what they can't do. I can't do this and I can't do that, and they lack confidence, uncertainty. They have anxiety, because what happens is this: when you say you've been called to do a certain thing, and when it's time to step out and do that, that's when that insecurity starts speaking loud in your head. That insecurity tells you you're not going to make it. You're not going to build that dream. You're not going to build that vision. But confident is silent, because on the inside of me said, I can do all things through God who strengthens me. And so that's why I had to take that pen and burst that bubble, because I want to go to the next level. I want to make sure I get everything that God has for me. Everything. So confident is silent, but insecurities are loud, and they speak real loud in your ear when you're trying to do something. And I know we've all experienced when we step out and we're scared, and even when we stepped out with the movement, and we talk about how we stepped out, we're flipping and flapping and flipping and flapping. Of course, I was sitting like chilling myself, but Nita was flipping and flapping, And so, but what happened with me was that my insecurity was so loud. My insecurity told me I couldn't do this. My insecurity said I was going to say something stupid. My insecurity told me that my adjectives and my my nouns and pronouns was not going to line up. And then I had to go, and then I remember in the Bible when it was talking about, I think it was Moses when he couldn't talk and he was stuttering, but God sent somebody to help him. So that's how it is. And I had to learn that I had to have confidence. But not only that, you have to learn to go to sleep with a dream and awaken with a purpose. You have to learn, you got to catch a clear vision where you're going. Figure out what steps to take. Set large and small goals, and be prepared for setbacks, because setbacks are coming. Find a way to use your dream to help others. So one of the things is with the movement, it was a dream for a long time. It was a dream we used to pray and pray and pray, and we wanted to start this organization, but it was not just for us. We had to find out a way to help others with our dream. Yeah, it helping us. It helped us to build confidence. We're building organizations. We're connecting with people, but we wanted to make sure that this wasn't a selfish organization, that we reached out to help other people and to bring people with us, because we don't want to go to the next level and go into the winning circle and you still back at the gate. No, we want to, when we get to the end of the race, we want you with us. And so That's why it's so important that you have a dream. And then you take that dream and you build on that dream and build on that organization, build on that desire, whatever that thing that you've been called to do. Build on that and believe, because all it takes is a pen to bust the bubble. Plan, investigate, and navigate. And next is peace is like wine to the soul. Get drunk. I have learned I have learned to set limitations in my life. You know, I have learned how to not make issues bigger than what it is. You know, I'm learning how to escape for a while. When Anita was talking about how her and a friend went and spent some time, you're gonna need that time. You're gonna need that peace. You're gonna need that peace that surpasses all understanding, because this walk can be very daunting. You know you've been called, but every now and then you begin to ask yourself, and I even do it now, and I have to catch myself, am I really called to do this? You know, even when I do like when I do with the movement, I'm a little more comfortable because Anita's here with me. But then when I do a Tuesday night talk, TNT, and then I'm by myself. And so, you know, every now and then I tell myself, ooh, you need somebody on here with you. You know, this is scary, even though I've been doing it a while. But you know what? I had to get a peace on the inside of me, you know, and I became drunk with peace, you know, because if I had not gotten peace about it, I would not be able to do it, honestly, because fear will overtake you. But I began to really pray about it and ask God to really give me peace, you know, because if I said I've been called to do it, then I need to step out and do it. And that's the thing. It's not that you won't have anxiety. It's not that you sometimes not sure, but you know, you have to learn how to tap into peace. And one of the ways to tap into peace, really, to be very honest with you, sometimes you got to steal away. Sometimes you just have to steal away. You have to pop that bubble, because that bubble that will cause you to get to the point that you are totally afraid and you'll walk away. But I just decided that I'm gonna see this thing to the end. I am gonna be here until the trumpet sound. I told my husband, I said, I really, be honest, I really don't want to die. I said, I want to be caught up. I want to come get me.
Come on now.
Caught up, but just in case, I'm going to be here and I'm going to continue to encourage people. I am going to continue to let you know that you can do this. And if I could do it, oh my God, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. I was probably one of the most chicken, for like a better word. I would tremble if somebody tell me to get a microphone. I remember when I preached my first sermon, a plague-infested church was the name of the other sermon. And I remember trying to preach, right? And my hand, I was shaking, like I had to grab my hand like this and hold that mic. But I bet you what, I held that mic and I got through it, because I refused to fail.
Yeah.
I went to the pastor and told him I've been called to preach. And so I had to deliver. And I did the best I could at that time. Of course, I'm a little better now. But you know, those are the things you walk through. And finally, rock bottom is really solid foundation. Sometimes, y'all, sometimes in life you have to hit your rock bottom.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to, God will strip you. And sometimes you strip yourself. But whatever, you get to that rock bottom. But what happens at the rock bottom, then you're able to start building. See, because you're already about low as you can go when you're at the rock bottom. You're low as you go. So you can take that rock bottom and you start building a solid foundation and start building. Okay, yeah, it didn't work. Yeah, you know, you had some setbacks. Yeah, you know, some people talked about you. Yeah, you know, he left. I mean, yeah, the kids are acting up. But whatever your rock bottom is, you take that rock bottom and you begin to smooth it out. Because one of the things Elena father used to lay footer, and I used to watch how he would, you know, they dig the footer and they put the wood around, and you know, they make sure all the corners are covered. And then the person would come and they would lay the foundation out. I used to watch how they would smooth it out and get it just so, because see, with the foundation, you can't have no bubbles in it, and you can't have, you know, it has to be smooth. But it was at the bottom that they started building the solid foundation. So I'm here to let you know that a pen is needed to burst your bubble. And now that your bubble have been burst, you have to plan, investigate, and navigate, and begin to build from wherever you are. Don't worry, if you didn't make it before, you didn't make it. If it failed, it failed. But wherever you are now, begin to build at your rock bottom and watch your solid foundation begin to take form, and then you'll be able to build. And I guarantee you, if you keep hanging on, you keep building, you keep believing, you will build, end up building something that would even surprise you, because that's what God does. And so a pen is needed to burst your bubble. You have to plan, investigate, and navigate.
All righty then, for planning, investigating, and navigating. You have to, because there is life outside the bubble.
Come on now.
And see, here's the funny thing. I told you we were going to go in a lot of different directions. I knew it. I am like, because it can be a positive thing. Like I said in the beginning, it could be positive, it could be negative. And so, and that went from a perspective of people who, and we talked about this in the beginning, people who close themselves off and don't want to deal with nobody outside their bubble. I just want to stay out to myself and seclude, and I'm going to hide. But there is a, you know, there are times that you have to, because my first point is there's a time and a place. There are times, like I said in the beginning, there are times that you have to go inside the bubble. You have to bubble wrap yourself. You have to protect yourself and close off from everything else around you in order to move in the direction you're supposed to move in. So by the time that you do come out, and this was so funny because this is in my notes and it was one of her points, when you do finally come out, it causes people to say, well, where have you been? Hiding under a rock? At that point, you can come from under the rock. There's a time and a place. And when you are in an incubative state, when you are in a delicate state, a protective state, that may be the time to be in. But you don't live in there forever. It's not that you close off from the world and you just stay floating around in that bubble forever. No, you have to take control of how you isolate and seclude yourself, and know that that is not a natural instinct. You have to commingle and interact with people. People need people. I'm literally people. I don't need nobody. Yes, you do. You need people. That's the way. That's the way the world was designed. That's the way God designed us. That we ought to work together and live together in harmony and need people and help people. People need people. But there come, you know, and the thing is, there's sometimes though, like I said in the beginning, you have to subtract the disconnects. And when you do, you have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. There is a time and a place. But when those times come that you need seclusion, when you need to sequester, when you need to consecrate, and remember our word in the beginning was sanctify. When you need to sanctify and hold up the sign and say in the bubble, you have to know when that time is. And then when it's time to fold it up, when it's time to deal with that situation, then you come outside of the bubble. You don't live in there forever. And you know what the thing is, and you know, and this takes me to my third point, you have to let it rip. And that's what we talked about, bubble wrap. You have to take off the bubble wrap, because what's inside of the bubble wrap can't be used inside the bubble wrap. You can't purchase something. When you purchase something and it has all these little plastic tabs and bubble wrap, you can't use it with the bubble wrap on it. I got this. Well, can you use it? And you're trying to use it through the bubble wrap. It does not work that way. So it comes a point where you have to let it rip. Okay, now it's time for me to open up, and it does cause you to expose yourself. It causes you to have to be around situations and around people. But I'm here to tell you that there is so much life in allowing yourself to be blessed by the lives and the gifts and the dreams and the visions of others. Like-minded people. Let me tell you, there is nothing like connecting to like-minded people. All you have to do is have that spirit of discernment. And you yourself, what's inside of your bubble, what's inside of your bubble wrap is very, very unique, precious, and different. And guess what? You have a right to be different. People have a right to be different. Why? Because they are different. People come from the same family, but have different passions and different dreams and different gifts. Same generation, same time frame, but you have different beliefs. You have, you know, even when it comes to Christianity, we view God and situations differently. Heck, even dogs are different, and they're accepting of each other. They're intrigued by each other. You notice when the two dogs get together, they smell each other, and then they'll run around and play. Well, some of them. And Ned's dog won't. And then the thing is, even when people have to navigate the differences, it causes you to go to that higher place in yourself. But there are benefits of getting to know those who are different from you, who have a different perspective, but you guys are like-minded and you want the same thing. And it's possible to bring ideas and stuff to the table. That's what the movement is all about. We're a motivational organization built to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. It can't just be the two of us, but we have resources. Like Annette said earlier, Anita can help you. Well, Annette can help you too. However, you know.
Yeah, I just threw that in there.
I know, because we talk about it all the time. But when because that's how she was at the beginning. She didn't think, I'm like, girl, please, especially now, what we're dealing with now, and that is by far the person to help you. In this pandemic and lose jobs and all that kind of stuff, let me tell you, she's got some information for you. But life experiences will have you so boggled up and so tied up, and then you become so aroused by the people who are around you who can widen your perspective. Because sometimes you get wound up and tightened up in your own situation that you can't really see your way out, and it takes another viewpoint. And just like another person can help you, you're put here to help somebody else. What you have is different, but you can't use it being inside the bubble. You got to let it rip. You got to come outside of the bubble. You have to come past yourself and be open to getting to know people, even when they are nothing like you. Hear experiences that they have had. Expand your social networking, not just in social media, but in the places that you go outside the bubble. You have to live and work with people of different races, different belief systems, different religions. Guess what? How are you going to win anybody if all y'all believe in the same? Then who the ham and eggs are you witnessing to? I can't, but for the life of me, get past some people who claim, oh, I can't associate with such and such and such because they're Jewish or because they're Muslim. Well, what? Who do you think Jesus had dinner with when he calls Zacchaeus out the tree? When he had this dinner with thieves and robbers and stuff? Did he have this dinners all the time with the same people? No. Why? Because how was he going to win anybody? How are you going to win anybody if everybody around with everybody? Everybody around. Okay, I get it with close friends. Everybody around me say hallelujah. Everybody around me say, all of that is wonderful. You all in your bubble with you and your saved crew and y'all fighting like cats and dogs. Can't even get along. But then you turn your nose up at people outside of your little bubble. You have got to come outside of that bubble because you are supposed to be the light of the world, and you can't shine your light in that bubble just for yourself and hover over it because it's not helping anybody. You have got to rip off that Band-Aid that causes you to be so secluded and to live inside of the place that is meant to be the place that just cultivates what you have. It is not meant to live there forever. So I want you to come on out. Type in, come out. Come out, come out, come out. Come on out, just come out. It's okay out here. We good. We come in peace. We come in peace. Come out. Come out and mingle amongst us. It's all right. We don't bite. Just come out. And the thing is, I know that, it's difficult when you've been hurt and when you've been, misunderstood, or when you've been in abusive relationships or situations and you're a little protective. And all of that is fine. I get it. But guess what? It's a part of life. And at some point, your skin has to thicken and you have to grow up and you have to learn to let stuff go. You can't stay inside the bubble and protect your little heart and your little feelings forever. Because guess what? You'll start inviting people in because you get lonely. And guess what the people inside your bubble are going to do? They're going to do the same thing as the people on the outside of the bubble. So why contaminate your little sacred space? That's your little sanctification space. You use that to sanctify, but you come outside of the bubble so that you could be a light to the world, so you can help people, so you can help heal, and deliver people. Just come out. Come on out of the bubble. It's all right out here. Come out, but I think it's great to take the bubble break. It is great to take a bubble break. Who is that? Who is Galaxy J7? I don't know who Galaxy J7 is because it doesn't have a name. And that's what we talked about in the beginning, that you have to.
That's Linda.
That's who?
That was Linda.
Oh, Linda. Okay, hey, Linda. And yes, we talked about this in the beginning, Linda. You probably weren't on. We talked about it in the beginning as to how, we have to go and take ourselves into the bubble. That's what our word for tonight was: sanctify. We talk about being saved and sanctified. I'm sanctified. I'm set apart for God's purpose. But actually, have we actually dealt with sequestering and secluding ourselves, where we have to go and become refueled and revitalized and actually work on our gift and our purpose. And those are the times, yes, you do need to be inside the bubble. It is, and trust me, a bubble break is very necessary a lot of the time. I agree with you, my sister. Because, sometimes I just decide I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm not going to call. I'm not going to talk to nobody. I'm going to take me a break. I'm going to enjoy me some peace and quiet. I'm taking a bubble break. Amen and amen again. But yes, and the doors of the church are open. That's the end of pretty much our discussion, but I want to open up the microphone for those who may want to speak. If anybody has anything to say or have any questions or have any praise reports. Yes, Linda.
I have thoroughly enjoyed this today.
Awesome.
Because that's exactly where I am.
Okay.
I was telling my kids the other day, I said, I'm looking for my house with a family here, one there, and one across the street over there. I said, I'm tired of being in the middle of everything and everybody, and I just want to be left alone just for a little while. So I'm happy to be in the bubble right now.
The bubble is a good place, and hey, it's only in the bubble. You see?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all. Love you all.
Happy Mother's Day.
Your buddy just waved at you, Linda.
Yes.
It's okay to be in the bubble.
I'm back.
It's okay. I feel you. Anybody else want to say anything about being in their bubble or about coming out of the bubble? All right. So Annette, what do you think about your bubble?
Oh yeah, and speaking of the bubble, I'm stepping out of the bubble. On Saturdays, I think we're gonna do it probably around 12 or 1. I haven't quite determined. But me and my grandson Jace, we have what we call a Saturday with A and J. And so we'll be discussing some little things. We'll probably be on like 15, 20 minutes. But that's something we want to do. And actually, to be honest, I wanted him to just sing, but he said he wanted to have something to say. So all right.
All right, well, I called the tell into y'all last Saturday. I'm like, okay, and then A and J.
A and J, and whatever topic he gives me, the topic he want to talk about, and then we make it happen.
Amen.
So
that's awesome. And tell him how old your grandson is.
He'll be 10 on Saturday.
Wow, isn't that amazing that his mind goes there?
Yeah, that's what he.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's again coming out of that bubble. We got to step out, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to stay in, stay there. Whatever what you do.
A little longer.
That's right.
When you need to step out, you step out, and when you need to stay a little longer, you stay a little longer. Sometimes the bubble is necessary.
That's right. Amen.
But it's not. But the bubble ain't forever. So we just want everybody to be encouraged, and we want you to understand. Hey. Listen, you're special. You're special, and your life has purpose and meaning, and it is meant to help and to edify somebody. Somebody's waiting for what you have. So we want to encourage everybody to step into their purpose, to step out of their comfort zone and into the deep end and allow God to use you. Come out the bubble. All right, good people. Well, we are done with our discussion, and we thank you guys so much again for coming. You could have gone anywhere else, but you decided to stop by here with these two, your co-hosts, Annette L. Anderson and Anita Faye Wilson with the movement, and you decided to join us for this hour. So we appreciate you, and we are grateful that you joined us, and we'll be back again next week, same time, same place, different topic, all for you. So bring a friend, come back and see us. We'll be right here. We love you all. We appreciate you, and y'all have a blessed evening. Mwah. Stay safe.